Hello there, this is Friday, and as we do every Friday, we are here to review another writer, guide, book, craft book, publishing book, whatever, books for writers. And today, surprise, surprise, we do another book from Chris Fox's Write Faster, Write Smarter series, and we'll do book number 7, which is Plot Gardening. And you probably wonder, wait a minute. Last week you did book 3, Right to Market, and today you were doing book 7. And I know you've read them all, so you probably did bunch edited because you were the same t-shirt and you mixed up the order or something. And no, it's not. I specifically did this book before book 4 and 5 and 6 because it fits right next to Right to Market. Why do I say that? I've said before that I like this series because it shows how you grow as a writer, how you start, you grow as an independent writer. So in book 1, you learn how to write faster. In book 2, you learn how to write consistently. In book 3, you learn how to choose what to write. So, since 5,000 words per hour relies on plotting, then a book for plotting is definitely what you should have in order to maximize your performance. And this is a book on how to plot and outline your story, because Chris Fox says in the beginning that after publishing and writing all the books, he decided to focus on craft. So he came up with a way to write his book. He was a pantser, and then he discovered that if he plotted his works in detail, he could write faster and better every scene. And he kind of lost the fun, so he went planter. So yep, right on. Planters win because you get the most out of it. So it's a great opportunity if you write your first book and you took the effort to market research and you want to succeed. You should definitely have an idea on how you should plot this book. If you have a good plot, a plot that is working, then odds are good this book will resonate with your readers. And the method described here is quite interesting because you start with a concept and you build upon it, which is fun. Chris Fox has this idea in chapter 1, says that we have the architects and the planters. You have authors who plan everything and have everything planned in detail, and you have authors who just put the seeds of the story on the ground and wait to see what comes out. The discovery writers, the punchers. And he said that if you have a gardener, yes, the gardener puts the seeds in the ground, but he's not waiting. He's guiding those seeds, those plants into what he wants to do. That's the plot gardening, that's planting. You put the seeds in the ground and you work them into a novel the way you want to be. And this time around I did the exercises. Yes, and I've done most of them. Some of them took quite some time, and since the project I was doing was not time critical, and doing this review was more important, I've done most of the exercises. I'll go and finish the rest of them and video them too. So sometime in the future, I'm not sure when, it will be sometime though, you'll have a vlog of me doing those exercises. And if you want to have my experience, to know what my experience with these exercises was, it'll be later in this video. This is not the best outlining or plotting book in the world. No way. I'll tell you that right now. However, if you're a total noob to writing a book, this is a great down and dirty approach to plotting. It's very practical. The exercises are really helpful. Alright, Save the Cat as a novel is the superior. It's the golden standard. There's nothing I can tell about it, but here we have a good approach. We have a much simpler approach, and I think it's easier to understand how some things work, because Save the Cat is a bit one-dimensional. It's about the bits, and manages to put into the bits a lot of other stuff, which is why it's so good. However, it's good to try different approaches, different systems, and see how they work. And after explaining the whole gardening concept, he goes into explaining the basic of storytelling, as well as how your novel affects the reader emotionally. So you have these two chapters, basic of storytelling and emotional resonance, and they're both very important. There is this dichotomy throughout the book that you have two different stuff. Basically, if you are into Save the Cat writes the novel, Saves the Cat writes a novel, then that's the A plot and that's the B plot. And they're both very important. And then he goes into characters and how they work and their flaws, etc. There's a lot of character work, which is very important in commercial fiction, following the characters, and some world building stuff. And then we go to structuring methods. He does the structuring methods separately. It's the 3-act structure, and there is the Dan Harmon story circle. I'm familiar with the 3-act structure, and I have heard of Dan Harmon's story circle, but never quite got it until I read this book. And as you can see, there are 3 chapters about it, and then there are some ideas about sequels and making changes and see how they change the whole structure of the novel. That's really interesting, and I can say that the exercises really helped me, because I went there. I had, you know what, I had this idea about a novel quite some time ago, and it was very loose, and I had some very loose ideas about sequels that I didn't quite like. So, you know, the point of if I want to self-publish, I should have some sequels ready, because if it gets traction, get the sequel out. That's the whole idea of self-publishing. That's the model, and I would love to have an idea where to go, and as well as how to write the first book, because the idea was very vague. So I went down and I did an outline for it, and used this method as a way to build this up, and oh god, it worked. It worked so well. And it may be that this method is really very close to my method. I'm also planting a lot. I'm having the plot points down, and then add the scenes in order to get from one to the other, and add some parts I want to have in there. And maybe I'll do a separate video about my philosophy on outlining, probably when I'm reworking the sequel for my current novel that I'm about to edit for the month of July. Actually, part of the exercises was doing both the 3-act structure and Dan Harmon's story circle separately, and see the differences, because 3-act structure is focused on the plot, and Dan Harmon's story circle is more focused on the character journey, the A plot and the B plot. And it worked very well, because I outlined the main plot, the events happening, and then I did the Harmon story circle, and I was focusing on the character's journey. And the chapter about the characters was really good, because I got a very good hold of my character and his condition, and it made me come up with a lot of other ideas about how he works. And what I really loved about the Harmon story circle, it was the transition from passive to active, along with the 3-act structure, that is the transition from normal world to the reversed world, from normalcy to adventure, and how they interact together. And basically you get both the A plot and the B plot together in the same beats, and you get the Save the Cat beats. You get some 15 bits or so, because there are 8 bits in 3-act structure, 8 bits in the Dan Harmon story circle, four transitions, and one of them is the same, the stasis. So you end up in with having the 15 bits of save the cats, saves the cat, and it quite works because I constantly had problems with the B plot. I was never defining it too much in my novels before, and they were suffering for that. That's what I identified by reading Save the Cat Writes a Novel. My B plots were not consistent. They were there, but they were not hitting the beats the same way the A plot was hitting it. And actually, I quite like this method. I think I'll try to use this method, doing both those circles one after the other, and refining the 3-act structure with the story circle. And I think this works for me. It helped me streamline the ideas, get some plot twists happening, some events happening, splitting the bits and then getting the scenes down. And I came up with some great scenes after plotting the seeds down there and having some ideas, seeing what was sprouting and how it was making. I got some inspiration to do some other stuff, and I got really excited about this project. And I'm really trying too hard not to get down and write it, because that's what good craft books do. That's what the good self-help books do. I don't know if you watched my review on Lifelong Writing Habit. I was not very impressed by it, but there was something that quite stuck to me, that we have an finite amount of willpower, and every time we make decisions, we burn some. That's why, for instance, Steve Jobs only wore one set of clothes, because he removed one choice from him. That's why many influential people are unable to make some menial tasks, take some very simple decisions, because they have to do so many other decisions that they're higher level, that they lack the willpower to. And so what those self-help books do, not necessarily Chris Fox, but other people, they are removing your need for decision, these methods. You have to follow the method and you get results without having to take decisions, actually, by following a road, and you still have willpower. And every time you make progress, you regain some of your willpower. Think of it that it's like a game. So every time you get some progress, and without having to think too hard about it, then you get a boost and you want to continue, because our psychology needs willpower, and every time you get more willpower, then it will give you the boost to go on. That's how it works for me, and that's how this book worked, and that's what I liked in this book. It was, this and this. You don't have to worry too much. Everything is very simple. Everything is split up, and yeah, I like the guy's writing style. His writing voice is, it speaks to me. Let's say that it works quite well for me, because he has this gaming IT background like me. So he is thinking everything that way, not like a scriptwriter or a creative writing person, but as an engineer. He breaks the problem down and then builds it up again. The way the outlining is done here is incremental. You start from a very simple big idea, and then you do some abstracts here and there, some placeholder for big chunks of scenes, and then you go and fill in the blanks in layers. It's sort of like agile method of software development, and I don't think it's a must read. I mean, Save the Cat, right? Or is it Saves the Cat Writes a Novel? Save the Cat Writes a Novel? Save the Cat Writes a Novel. Yes, I got that. Is really, and you should definitely read it. But if you want to, read an extra book on outlining on a simpler method, a more crash course, done and dirty method, maybe to say something else, maybe to see another approach, maybe to, maybe it goes better for you, and it's $1 at the moment. It's just $1 in a couple of hours of reading, and it may work, especially if you want to do outlining as a puncher, or you're a plancher, you're looking for a planching method of step-by-step working on an idea from idea to full outline. Then give it a try. You lose nothing but $1 in 2 hours. I mean, you can spare it if it may help you, right? So that was my review for Plot Gardening, a book that helped me a lot, and maybe it can help you. If you like this video, I won't press your willpower. You don't have to decide. You just press the like button. You subscribe to this channel, and next Friday we have another video. Probably it will be about another book in Write Faster, Write Smarter series, because I've read this stuff and I'll keep doing them. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching.